today. Had a few things to finish up, had to run around a little bit, but I'm here to try and get one thing done. We'll see how it goes. I don't have a ton of time to stream today, unfortunately. Well, fortunately, because going on a nice long weekend to the cottage, which I go to seemingly quite frequently, but it's Canadian Thanksgiving coming up, so it's going to be a long weekend, and yeah, it'll be good to see some family. So that means today's a short stream, and then Friday's off and Monday's off, and then it's back to normal again, so yeah, it should be good. I'm going to change my curtain setup for a minute. So my face isn't quite as pasty. It's still, oh well. Right, so today, let's get into it. I've got a bit of work done here, actually. I separated out. Oh, this had been done already, I think, on my last stream. I don't remember entirely, but I have this org file here, dumbbells.org now, separated out into its own file entirely, which I'm pretty happy with. And that is producing this output right here. So I've got things kind of cleaned up a little bit. I even have, if I go into the state element here, all those kind of messy globals are commented out. I'm gonna delete them in a minute. Still gotta test a few things, but they are nicely tying into the usability of this, or into all the parameters of this thing here. So this is working reasonably well, and I can kind of keep going from there. So that's pretty nice. I'm pretty happy with that. So now the big difference is state is all one big atom, and I'm pulling all the bits out of that one piece at a time into their various parts. So hex plate and tube are just functions, and then plate and handle here pull in the state and produce a particular function from it. So that's looking pretty nice, I think. I only have one problem related to this here. What I have is a function that does, in theory, take the desired mass and update the required number of plates to reach a close proximity to that actual mass. And I've done something incorrect with how I've set up the functions, because it causes some recursion, or like it recurses infinitely, which is an issue. So I'm going to see if I can change a few things around with that to get that going, but we will have to see. And I also want to now tune into my window here to see that things are going okay. Yep, looks like we're okay. Yeah, so on that note, let me just check one thing here. I tried one thing with this render curve function to kind of try and optimize things a little bit, but it doesn't totally work. But what I did here in this render curve thing, per curve, it'll set the resolution either to 1 or to 10, depending on if it's a line or if it's an actual curved shape. So there's a function that checks if if one point is on the line, which is a little hard to read here, but it checks if this point is on this line. If it is, then it sets the resolution to 1 because what I'm checking is I'm making a line between the start and end of the curve and the middle of the curve, and if it's in a straight line, that will always be true. If it's a curve of any other kind, and this is where it's still not perfect, it's most likely not true. It's definitely not true for circles, but if it's a sine wave, it's potentially true, which is still a problem. The other problem is this line, or this online infinite check, doesn't work perfectly, so these are things to improve. But the theory makes sense. You just run a pre-check on the curve to determine if it's a line, like a straight segment. If it's straight, you don't have to sample it, you just take the first point and the end point. If it's not straight, you sample it per some resolution. So it hints at, for rendering curves, it hints at a more general function that either detects or just reads a tag or something from a curve value, and then will kind of dispatch a different resolution. Dispatch is maybe the wrong word. It'll select a different resolution based on that case. So yeah, so it's a rough idea here. In fact, it may be smart to bake in a curves tag in the Forge. For example, have brep line return return a point as normal, but return a line keyword when passed a flag argument. Then just assign actually, since I'm writing this out, maybe I should actually just go ahead and do this for a minute. So let me open this up for just a second, forge.org here. So what I want to do is attempt to create a function. Yeah, this might be a good idea. Could be horrible, but it might be good. We will find out. Oh, let's do this instead. Right, let's go load file forge proto.cljc. Should load things okay. Yep. And let's switch into the namespace and mess around for a minute. Oh, this, yeah, it is, that's right. And now let's have a little mess around with, if I go into Forge here and have a look at line primitives, this brep line function, I want to modify so that it returns to me here. It's going to take a single argument t here, and the condition, all I need to do actually, since there's cond stuff here already, I can do cond if it's equal to t, if t equals the tag keyword. I'm sure there's a more elegant way to do this, but we'll begin with that. just return to me the keyword line. So let's define this. Let's also def a as brep line between 0, 0, 0 and 1, 2, 3, just for kicks. Right, so a 0, a 1, 1, 2, 3, a 0.2, pardon me, 0.2, all that seems normal. And now let's do a tag. Oh, okay, so something's cannot be cast to number. Ah, interesting. Okay, that's right. So it looks as if a cond here, it's evaluating through all of these. So what I need to do in order to get this idea to work, I think, is to have the first cond be the tag check. I just feel as if there's ways that this becomes slow, but we're gonna try it anyway. Oops. Okay, A0 works, A1 works. There's also a potential issue. Well, it's not really. Well, okay. We'll just see first of all tag line. Okay, that works. Is that smart? That's kind of the thing I'm wondering about. Let's quickly peruse the rest of the curve types that this would be useful to try with. Curve circle I know has how did I write it here? Equals t tag is how I did it. T tag. Tag here is circle. Oops, there. Let's go. This is not the same. That's fine. Cond. Old arc. I'm not using that. Curve arc. So this idea needs work, I think. I'm not sure. I'm not convinced in my own mind that it's a good idea, but we're gonna try it. Let me check one other thing here. Polygon, curve polygon. Yeah. It takes a brep polyline, which I should do here. Polyline. Curve polygon. Oop. Didn't mean to do that, but that's okay. Right, polygon, brep, curve polygon. oh no, this is, so there's, this idea could work, but I'd have to fix up how I'd have to be more precise with how I am defining the boundary rep functions in this, which is okay. But theoretically, using that, I should be able to go into stylo here and make a slight adjustment to this res function here. I define resolutions to be a map where I take line resolutions 1, and if I take circle, the resolution to be 24, and I call that good for now. What I can do here is write res is equal to the, if I call the function with the argument tag, that gives me the tag for the curve, and I run that through resolutions, and that should give me a number, 1 or 24, and that should, for simple things like this, that should theoretically help with better rendering. But we will find out if I've made any grave mistakes in short order. Let me now make a change here, and we'll find out if things work. Read string errors. Right, another thing I keep forgetting to fix. Ah, okay, so things do break. Right. Great. Let's have a quick peek here. See what's going on. Console, what kind of errors are we getting? A lot of warnings. Nth not supported on keyword. What did I miss? What did I mess up here? Yes, okay, so I've gotta oops. Start a REPL in stylo instead, and we will try to render a curve. Load file, source, stylo, shape.cljc. Alright, so let's make a shape for a minute here. Let me open up this, load the namespace. Let's have a look at what's a fine part to make. Let's just do def A is f/extrude of f/circle with a radius of 10, an extrusion of 40. Okay. So if I do A, yeah, that's a thing. Okay, so if I do now render curves of the shape A, error. Wrong number of arguments. Render curves. Let's have a look here. Oh, shape A. Transform is f/isometric transform TF. Color black. No such var. Oh, it's not transform, it's XF. Really? Pretty sure that exists. Let's have a look here. Oh, it's not in F, it's in this. Right, sometimes I get my spots mixed up. Okay, so don't know how to create iSeek from Clojure lang keyword. Okay, so we've got the same error in here, so now we can kind of break it apart a little easier. That's kind of a nice way to do it. Let me see. Right, so let's go look at the curve rendering situation. This function here, let's just try to recreate that in the REPL here. A tag is nil, of course. That makes sense. If I pull curves from A, I get a list of things. Okay, let's take first of curves of A. So that's the function I'm gonna just work with for a minute. Pardon me. Let's def B as that. Okay, so now if I take B tag, it is circle. So if I now do B tag of resolutions, it does give me that number. Okay, so now if I redefine B as second of curves, that was a combined, like a compound sort of curve. It was a different thing. Probably this gives an error. Ah, yes. Okay, so what was that? What was that curve? That's my question. So if I now do curves of A, okay, it's very obvious that these four, 1, 2, 3, 4, are pretty straightforward. They are just line functions. This one here, this comp, I'm guessing is the circle with the translate added to it. So, this is where things do break down a little bit, right? Because how do I tag that? Let me see. What I could do is, let me zip back to Forge here. If I go into operations here, transformations, translate, brep translate here, this is exactly what I see. Yeah, so I've got a, I'm doing a comp of the function I passed in and this function here. So what I would need to do is return the tag type of the returned in, or the function placed in there. Does that make any sense? So what I can do is cond here equals right, things get a little convoluted already, unfortunately. Well, I could do it this way. I could rewrite this to look like this: function of t. Although even that's not. No. Yeah. Okay. This is a little harder than I thought. The reason I'm hesitating here is I can't write it as function of t equals this, or because the reason I can't do that is because this translate function currently works on both curves and surfaces and volumes. By not caring, it just does a comp of this function. It just translates whatever the result of the function call is. So I could do this function and args where I do apply f to args is that, and that should work just the same, but I could slide into here a cond. What I can do up here is let tag be f tag, and then in here cond if equals first args. If the first thing from args equals tag, then you pass the tag that it already was. And the next condition is just else, which then returns this comp. So let's see if that makes sense. Let's try that. I think it could work. So that's saved there. This is a different REPL. So let me go ahead and actually I do, let's go restart the session to force it to reload the other thing here, and I'll just do load file source silo shape.cljc. Okay, and we will close up this, see if it works. What am I looking for here? Oh, did I close shape entirely? Ah, here it is. Okay, namespace. Okay. All right. Let's define A as f/extrude f/circle 10 by 40. It doesn't really matter, but that is almost right. Wrong number of arguments passed to surface circle. And why is that? It's because I'm thinking incorrectly about some things. What did I do wrong? must have, I think I know. So this stuff works. Let's define A to be just a circle. Okay, that so far is working fine. Now let's render curves of the shape A with the transform, isometric transform, and the color black is fine. Okay, that worked. And because it's a circle here, there's a whole bunch of points. Let's now just do render curves of f/line 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 1, isometric transform black again. Ah, it is working. Okay, so we've got 0, 0, 0, -1. Yeah. This has only, so it's a little hard to see because this is bad notation here, but that's a problem for another day. Right. So this is working. The idea is working. The reason I'm getting an error when I try to do the extrusion is because I have broken my translate function because it passes the wrong number of arguments into certain surface calls. So the idea works. I'm gonna undo the changes because there's a better way to do it and I don't want to rush through it is all. Although the only thing I need to change, I'll leave the tags in the BREPs for now. I'm just going to take the changes out of the translate function here. BREP translate here. I'm just gonna reduce back down to this. And that should work just fine. Oh, except I don't need to apply F to args. I actually can just do this. Comp this function with F. That should work. And now if I go back to stylo, where are we at here? There we go. And I just go back to the curve renderer. Let's just make it 10 for now. There. So with just those changes, I do believe that things should come back and work again. We'll have to see if we can resurrect the app. It's always a trick. Okay. Yeah, read string. That read string thing I should fix, of course. Blah blah blah. Okay. So we're back to some semblance of something. Okay. So now now I stretch, and I think hey yo JB, I just want to confirm, is this the person who I think it is? Do I know you in real life? Yeah? Oh, well. Not sure if you want me to use your real name then on stream, so I'll refrain until you confirm. But thanks for following. Thanks for tuning in. That's really cool. I'm always a little surprised when there's someone from my real life circle that actually tunes in at all, because this is not... Can you use the real name? Cool. Yeah, so I'm always surprised when people tune in who I know from my real life, just because programming is not like normal entertainment, as it were. So I appreciate it. It's cool. Hope things are going well for you. Things are okay on my end. Just staring at all these numbers here. I saw, actually, John, I saw your, I don't code, but I'm working myself. Good to have some background noise. Yeah. So before I started doing this myself, I did the same thing, and programming streams were that right kind of niche, you know, because there's a lot of times where they were talking, but it's easy to tune out if you're not like exactly paying attention to what it is. So glad I can fill some noise void for you. I saw your name, your screen name pop up in my activity feed earlier, and I was pretty sure it was you who had given a follow. But there's that little part of my brain that said, "Oh, you know what? This might be a coincidence." So I didn't want to, I didn't want to assume too much. But now I know. I hope your work is going well. I'm trying to figure out what I should change next about this, because my brain is slowing down. Exactly. Have no idea what I'm talking about, even if I paid attention. Well, that's totally cool, totally understandable. If you have questions and you do want me to explain bits and pieces, you can say so. I love explaining stuff. Obviously, there's no pressure either way. If you don't care, don't worry about it. But I'm glad to explain things. I do really enjoy it, and I try to explain things in ways that people can understand. But yeah, don't worry about it. It's all good. Just gonna make a joke about rendering curves. You gotta render those curves, man. There's the... Okay, so this is really silly, but the way I'm rendering curves, there's actually no curves at all. It's literally all just straight lines, and you can tell if you zoom in on oh boy, my screen window here is not exactly conducive to explaining things. Yeah, these circles here, if you look, right, they're faceted. They're jagged lines there. That is all the curves are just straight lines. It's all an illusion. It's all an illusion. It is a pretty, if I get serious for a moment, it's a pretty cool challenge with rendering in general. Like, there are ways to make smooth curves and stuff like that, but without getting into the data structure all that much, what I need to do is subdivide each curve into a bunch of tiny straight lines. And the more subdivision you do, the more computation it takes. So the more stress it puts on your system. And that's a particular issue because I'm actually running this in a web browser, because the idea is that I can open these things up on my phone, and you can manipulate things on the phone, and you can just do that in the browser, which it's totally possible, but it gets slow if you have a huge amount of really tiny lines. It just creates a bigger file size and causes issues. So you want to balance all the different computational needs with something looking half decent. It's all tricky, man. But you still got to render the curves. That's the real truth. So here, for example, I bumped up the subdivision number from 10 to 36. And if you look at the curve rendering here on these circles, it's way smoother, but it generates, since it is still all straight, or all straight lines, it's just way more points. So it's a big old mess. If I open up that part of the image here, for example, it's truncating the total number of points that's there. But if I copy this, let's see if I can paste that. Oh, whatever. It's a ton of points. Anyway, so it's this real actual problem. Well, a challenge, I should say. That's the stuff I like dealing with, though. It's fun to figure out solutions. Yeah, man. If you get into like if you get into more and more geometric math and stuff like that, there's all kinds of there's just nonstop talk about curves and things. Let's see. Got like I don't know what I'm trying to prove with this. There's curves all over the place. Nothing but curves. Hypotrochoid. I have been derailed. I clearly don't want to focus all that much right now because I'm just looking up things that are irrelevant. Sorry, man. I've said this to a few people. Anyone who's talking in the chat, you say and do whatever you want as long as it's, respectful and not horribly rude and all that, which you're fine. Totally your fault. No, it honestly isn't. I stream for a few reasons. One is to engage in the chat from time to time, but the other is to kind of work in the open. But all distraction is my own choice, right? Like I could just do this and just totally hide the chat and focus. So you can do and say whatever you want in the chat, and it's up to me to either ignore it or engage. So don't even worry about it. Theoretically, I'm actually the one that's causing you more distraction. But you have the power to mute me if you need to. But it's okay, I feel like I work better when I'm not working under these false stressful constraints of needing to be productive all the time, I like the casual approach to my programming sometimes. Agency, it's a wild thing. Yeah, man, what a concept. Responsibility for my choices? No way. Nah, I'm joking around, but I view it that way, right? My distraction is my choice most of the time, right? Reasonably so. So chat away if it's what you want to do. I'm totally cool with it. Okay, so the actual problem I was trying to think about today relates to, I've just got to check the time. Yeah, we're good. this here, N, the number of plates in this dumbbell design, is supposed to be dependent on the desired mass. But right now, this slider is completely unlinked. It's totally not linked to it at all. So I have a calculation in the design doc that does get the nearest positive integer of plates without going over the mass. But the way I've wired it up is it causes infinite recursion, which is no good. You can't compute infinitely. You'll run into the heat death of the universe if you try. So obviously I have to fix that. And there's probably a simple thing I'm kind of overlooking, but I haven't come up with the proper solution yet. That's my sticking point. So property calculations is where I need to look. So this here, calculate plate N, plate number, works on the state atom here, the state element, which, let me try, if I see what happens if I put it in the REPL here. Calculate plate N of state with a maximum of 60 plates. Let's try that. So it does actually give me, it just gives me a number. It's perfect. But if I do update plate N state 60, it also works. So if I now at state too much recursion. Ah, interesting. Now let me redef the state here. Okay. So if I at state now, okay, that's good. I've goofed it up, and I'm trying to figure out what to do about it. Handle of the state works, plate giving state works. Yeah. Okay, they both work. The only thing I've got is a recursion issue when I... Oh. Look at this. This might be related to the issue. What's the reset signature again? A new value. Okay, maybe it's as simple as me typoing this. Let's have a look here. Let's give it a shot. Let's not reset that. Maybe this is easier than I thought. Okay, at state currently not broken. Let's now update plate N with the current state. Okay, if I at state now, plate N is now 8. If I update it again, it's still 8. Okay, this is looking pretty good. Maybe that was the only problem. How great would that be? Okay. Desired mass is unlinked. Now I just have to link it back up. Let's go. Let's try to remember how I did that. I had it here. I had update plate number with the state and the maximum plate count. Okay, let's see. No, I was pretty sure that that would work. Let's have a look here. Let's inspect this. Are we gonna run it? Do we have an infinite recursion bug again, or no protocol? Ah, yes. Okay, of course. So now, since plate n, it's no longer a cursor into a state atom. It's now just going to be a number, because the update function updates the state and then it passes in the returned value, which means instead of doing at plate n, instead of dereffing that here, we're dereffing it. Oh no, this is not the same variable. This should maybe work. Oh no, there's still this spot here. Okay, plate n is just a number. Ooh, maybe it worked. Let's see. Yeah. Okay, we're working in the right direction anyway. Okay, so there's number of plates. There are indeed 8 plates on this dumbbell. Oh yes, okay. It's working. Sweet. Oh man, I'm pretty stoked about that. The only thing that's still broken is the plate thickness slider. So that's the next thing on the list to fix. I'm running out of time. I have to get going soonish, but maybe I can fix this before the time is up. Hey John, if you're still tuned in at all, you doing anything for the long weekend? Good old Canadian Thanksgiving. Okay, so the plate thickness parameter control is right here. Working. Oh man. That's, I would imagine, do you like, is it functionally equivalent to a normal week for you, trying to get edits done on an article so I can resubmit to a journal? Yeah, fair enough. Well, honestly, good luck on that. That sounds pretty exciting, in the sense that submitting to a journal is like a pretty nice step, right? So I hope that goes well for you. I do find occasionally, if I've got like a long weekend where most people have some kind of plan, but I just have work I want to get done or need to get done, sometimes those end up being like really productive pockets, because basically everyone's already engaged. There's nothing else going on for you, so you can super focus. So maybe it's a good thing for you. Trying to spin positively the fact that you're working. Anyway, I don't need to preach to you. I just hope things go well for you. Okay. I really don't know why when I alter this plate T value, it blows up the app. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me. So I have to figure it out. This feels like a solvable problem. Let's pop open the console here, clear everything. Let's just click this and break it. Okay, cannot compare 0 to some number. Oh, really? Okay, so this happens in the design ISO. Let's see here. Schedule's kind of wonky right now. Super hard to feel motivated and productive. Some days my brain just doesn't want to do anything. Take the day off. No point pushing for marginal gains. Working on weekends is sometimes what I do. Man, I completely understand that that state. It's frustrating sometimes, right? Because it's like you wanna push through and work sometimes, but you're totally right. You know, like how much is a marginal gain worth it, right? Sometimes it honestly is, right? Like, because speaking only for myself, there are times where I push this little bit extra to start working on something, and boom, it's 4 hours later and it was a pretty productive time. So I guess there's some times where the push results in more than marginal gains, but you don't know up front if that's true all the time. Other times you're completely right in that you push and just nothing's going through the skull. Man, that's tough. I have no advice. You're not asking for advice. I just have understanding and empathy for those sorts of moments. So best of luck, really. That's all we can do sometimes, you know. We do what we can, and when we can't, we take a break. If I can't focus in the next hour, I'll go for a walk. A couple hours go by without really noticing. Yeah, it's so funny how our brains are like the source of our best ideas and great work, and also the source of complete and dumb, silly things. Like, oh man, I don't want to get started because it's so much work. Okay, let me work for 5 minutes. Your brain agrees. And then it's been hours. It's like, how does that even work? Why would that happen in a normal... who would plan things like that? It's ridiculous. But yeah, I've used that tactic many times. Brains are so lazy sometimes. I kind of think that's the thing, is like, in general, that like the human mind and even our bodies are ultimately, they're kind of like optimizing machines, in the sense that if a thing is repeated over and over and over and over again, you gain muscle memory and it becomes sort of memorized in your head without thinking about it. And like the reason it seems, or it feels, is because our brains want to do less work overall. So it's like, okay, if I have to do this thing every day for hours at a time, I'm gonna just commit it to the part of the brain that's just low power, so it just works easier, and then you get this automatic sort of thing chugging along. It's just, oh, it's all so ridiculous. It's amazing we can do what we do at all. I'm into it. I love it. I guess in my own life, I'm trying to think about the mind and the brain and framing it not as like an adversary so much, right? Like, but as a complicated kind of system that has sort of intricate ways in which you have to use it, right? It's not like your brain is good or bad for being lazy or productive. It's just like, well, this is the state, and these are the things you can do when it's in that state, and that kind of changes it. It neutralizes any. For me, it helps reduce feelings of, say, shame or stress, it's like, okay, you know, the brain's in a kind of state like this. That means I can do this, this, and this, and I don't know. Things just become a little more neutral, at ease when I start to think of things that way. I'm pontificating about brains right now, and I'm trying to use mine to fix a code problem. What have I done with my life? I love it. I love it so much. Okay, so the problem I'm fixing is this thing right here. It breaks when this view is on the screen. So does it break when I remove that view? Let's have a look. Let's experiment there. Understanding the mind is important for a healthy mind. Yeah, totally. I love the concept of a brain or mind using itself to understand itself, like that self-referential loop is it's a fascinating thing, right? To even think about is pretty bonkers sometimes. Okay, so this is a useful little thing here. This plate thickness does change just fine when it doesn't blow up the app when my design isometric view is hidden. So if I pop open the plate front view here, does it break? It does not break. Pardon me. Fascinating. What time are we at here? Boy, I've got like 10 minutes, 15 maybe. What can I learn from what I've learned? What can I figure out? Oh, part view. Let's go here. Let's cheat. Just change this here. Okay. Plate T. So that does work just fine. So it breaks in the assembly. Okay. It's front transform. That's good. This text is just all wrong, by the way. 0, 0. Let's scale it down. This text, I'm gonna hide it for now. It's not helping me anyway. Okay. Assembly takes a state atom. Plate thickness is there. Plate T ends up in the translate of the stack. That's fine. Here, handle L. That's theoretically okay. Maybe it's not there, but in the view. Whoops. Okay. This is wrong. Isometric view of assembly. Well, I'm a little bit stumped on this one. If I comment this out and do handle and pop this back open and change this plate front to design ISO state. Okay. Kinda. Okay, so the problem is pretty firmly related to the assembly I'm confused by that. Okay, so it is probably then in the assembly file here. If I just start if I do at state, plate thickness is there. Okay, that works. Oh, there's one thing wait a second. Why is this happening? There should be the points used here should not be. Why do they have that many? Oh, I'm rounding the points at the wrong. Yes, okay. That's a different problem. This, boy, oh boy. I actually don't need to do that. I need to do yeah. If I go here, uh-oh, kinda bogged down my machine here. Whoops. All right. Well, not the machine, at least just Emacs. Let's okay, there we go. We're responsive again. Okay, so if I actually instead do this, if I do map v f/round 3, that should work, right? I think that's right. Let's try it. Let's see here. f/round 3. Map that function on some list. Oh, no, it has to be map. It's got to be a double map, of course. Oof. I wonder if that'll work. Let's find out. map v this whole thing. I don't think this is right. Yeah, okay. Well, let's forget that noise then. This won't help. Figure that out later, that's fine. Okay, almost time to go. Almost solved, well, solved one of the important problems, and now there's just one issue that I don't understand yet. Which is fine, because there's always tomorrow to work on these things. Okay. Let's go assembly view, assembly, isometric, take state, let zoom be that and rotation be that, and that's it. Yeah. Assembly state with that, render the curves with the isometric transform. Okay. It should all work. I just don't get it. Assembly, isometric. Let's refresh it. Okay. But why? But why does that happen? Yeah, cannot compare 0 to 0 point. This might be me not fully understanding reactive components in the UI yet. That's a possibility. I might have built the parameter view incorrectly, or I'm trying to manipulate the state atom in a bad way. Let me try this. If I change the plate thickness maybe let's try that. It might be related just to weird starting points. Oh, no, that's not it. Oh, maybe it is? Okay, let's define state. This has to be the last thing I try before I get going, unfortunately. Okay. Let's set this to 0.1 instead. Okay. See. Let's clear those errors. Right, so everything else works kind of as you would expect. Whoops, let's bring that number down. Bring this number up a little bit. Still breaks. Okay, so it's not quite that. Which means I'm at a loss. Right, well, this will be something to try another day. What I can do is embed in here? Do I have the embed? I do not. Oh, okay. So I have to tangle that. What? Really? Why is this not working? Well, okay. Git status, commit, git push, forge, git status, git add, git commit, short experiment with tag in vrep curves, git push. Okay, and last, oh boy, stylo. Okay, git status, git add, git commit, adjusting render curves. Still need to optimize. Git push. Okay, well, that is going to be it for me. I am ready for a break. Canadian Thanksgiving. Whew, I'm into it. Okay, let me just see here. What did I discover? This function does work. Plate thickness, the variable does change just fine when you have a hex plate or a handle drawn on screen. The only time it breaks is when I try to render this, the whole assembly. Why that is, I still don't know, but that's a good kind of area to explore. Pretty much everything is good to go. It's just a matter of actually writing out the document in a nice readable way, fixing that one bug with the plate thickness, and going from there. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with how things went. Despite it being a shorter stream, it was still productive. Got to test a thing or two out with curve tagging. That idea seems promising, but I have to think it over to implement it in a complete way, but it seems like a good idea, probably good for optimizing. Yeah. Thanks anyone who has tuned in and chatted. I always appreciate the chat. It's a lot of fun for me. anyone who might be watching this later, thanks for that too. If there's anyone watching who might be wondering how they can help, please, you can always help with money on Patreon. You can help with spreading the word by showing people who might be interested in programming and 3D modeling this page. You can follow, on YouTube, like, comment, subscribe, all that normal jazz. If none of that's cool and you don't want to do any of that, I appreciate the time spent viewing and chatting anyway. So all of that is really helpful for me. It's really nice. That's enough for me. I'm gonna hit it for the long weekend. I will be back on Tuesday streaming again, doing more programming as usual. Thanks everyone, and have a good one. Hope everyone has a good one. All right. See you later, John. Enjoy the turkey? I sure will. Hey, have a good weekend. Good luck with your work, and don't stress yourself out too much. Just focus and walk, and you'll do fine. All right. That's it for me. See ya.